The enemy of my enemy is not my friend. They are carrion birds, pecking at the scraps. They hold no honor within their soul. No sense of duty steals their spine. Inside them is naught but a desire for power, devoid of greater purpose and motivated solely by self-interest. They should be burnt to ash and scattered to the four winds, so none remember their name and none dare see them as hero nor martyr. Polycrux Ganrabar, hero of Baltura, House Taranis. House Taranis, known by the honorific Knight Patriarchs and internally as Primus Inter Pares, is a storied imperial knight house within the Questor Mechanicus that holds an unwavering allegiance to the Adeptus Mechanicus. Recognized as the very first knightly house in existence, House Taranis traces its founding back to Mars in the age of technology, concurrent with the creation of the first knight suits. This venerable lineage predates all other houses by centuries, forged in the era when Mars was rapidly evolving into a hub of unparalleled technological prowess. As the Red Planet transformed into the first and foremost Forge world, the Knights of House Taranis rose as its protectors, defending its sprawling industries and the sanctity of its tech-laden landscapes. The STC designs that powered humanity's earliest sublight Long March expedition fleets included the blueprints for exo-armored suits, prototypes inspired by those first donned by Taranis knights. During the Great Crusade, when the scattered night worlds were rediscovered, the Mechanicum's profound knowledge of these ancient suits played a pivotal role in securing alliances with these worlds, further bolstering the ranks of the Questor Mechanicus. House Taranis stands apart as the first knightly house to pledge itself to the Imperium. Unlike their feudal counterparts from distant night worlds who weathered the perils of the frontier, House Taranis remained closely akin to the towering might of the Adeptus Titanicus. However, the betrayal and uprising on Mars during the Horus Heresy struck a devastating blow to this ancient house, leading to near total devastation at the hands of traitor forces. By the war's brutal end, only 2 knights of House Taranis remained. Yet through unyielding determination and the expertise of Mars tech priests, the house rose from the ashes, emerging even stronger. This ordeal is forever etched into the psyche of House Taranis, instilling in its knights an unshakable belief that the Omnissiah's protection is eternal, a conviction that has only strengthened since the Great Rift opened across the galaxy. House Taranis lives by the motto, "Honor thy forge, honor the primus ordinus." House Taranis holds the title of first among equals within the venerable Questoris Familia, for it is in the veins of its nobles that the legacy of those who first walked the crimson sands of Mars within knight armor endures. These scions were the architects of the doctrines and customs that have since shaped all knight houses, and they were the first to pledge their fealty to Mars's forge lords. From these ancient roots, House Taranis was born. It has long served the Red Planet, initially against the corrupt forces that threatened its sands, and later across the vastness of the stars as participants in the Great Crusade. Through all trials, House Taranis has remained committed to its noble heritage, understanding that failure in duty dishonors not only their own house, but all knightly houses that followed, tainting the countless sacrifices made since the first Night War Machine was created. Centuries before the Emperor's conquest of Terra during the Unification Wars of the late 30th millennium, Mars was humanity's stronghold of technological prowess. Among its many creations was the Knight Suit, a weapon nearly as formidable as the mighty Titans themselves. House Taranis traces its origins back to this era, with its ancestors piloting these prototype knights thousands of Terran years before the establishment of the Night Worlds. Before the Throne Mechanicum carried the neural imprints instilling honor, duty, and tradition, these early pilots had already dedicated themselves to the machine god and the Mechanicum. Only in the bloody aftermath of the Horus Heresy and the civil conflict on Mars, the Schism of Mars, did House Taranis rise to prominence. House Taranis emerged as the sole remaining knight house on Mars after the devastating Civil War, eventually becoming a steadfast part of the Adeptus Mechanicus's military power, fully embracing the machine god's worship in the age of the Imperium. This allegiance set them apart from other knightly houses, including those in alliance with Forge Worlds or the Adeptus Mechanicus itself. Unlike their counterparts, the Knights of House Taranis were woven into Mars's military structure, true servants of the Omnicia. The original knight suit was among the many technological marvels created on Mars during the Age of Technology, with House Taranis' nobles as the first to pilot these pioneering prototypes from Mars' Forge city heart. Unlike the later nobles of other knight houses, Taranis' throne's mechanicum lacked the subtle mind-shaping elements, as these early Martian nobles already possessed unshakable loyalty to the mechanicum's cause. As the standard template constructs for imperial knights were refined in preparation for humanity's interstellar expansion, subtle adjustments to the throne's mechanicum were introduced to instill loyalty and readiness in nobles sworn to defend others. Many knight suits wielded by House Taranis scions are relics, the oldest patterns and designs amongst the knight households. However, the attrition of the Horus heresy decimated House Taranis' ranks, prompting a renaissance of the house with new, advanced knight suits, restoring its position as the first and finest of the knightly houses. Many of House Taranis' knights still carry heraldry dating back to the time of the Horus heresy renewal, proudly displaying the amended symbols of their house. Though no trial has tested the house as severely since, they emerged from the edge of obliteration stronger than ever before, each knight a testament to the endurance and legacy of the first of all knightly houses. In the very core of the Imperium stands Mars, the ancient seat of the Mechanicum and the heart of today's Adeptus Mechanicus, unrivaled as the first and preeminent forge world. This vast planet of endless factories, towering hive cities, and intricate mines houses billions of tech priests and servitors. Above Mars, orbiting Manufactoria blaze with industrial fire as massive void lifts shuttle billions of tons of cargo daily, both planetward and to the stars. Mars is also home to the Battlefleet Solar, the largest of the Emperor's naval forces, housing thousands of colossal battleships, each capable of planetary annihilation. Amid this industrial colossus, the nobles of House Taranis gather in spire-crowned palaces and orbital strongholds. Unlike most nobles bound to the throne Mechanicum, House Taranis' scions are followers of the Omnicia, standing shoulder to shoulder with tech priests in their worship of the machine god rather than adhering to feudal customs. The origin of House Taranis' unique path lies in its extraordinary past and centuries-old role within the Adeptus Mechanicus. The first nobles of Mars were expert pilots and esteemed engine-seers who wielded an unparalleled understanding of their machines. As knight suits evolved, so too did their pilots, with the throne's Mechanicum altering them subtly through neural connections. Over time, only those with specific genetic or biological traits could become optimal pilots, prompting the establishment of knightly houses on Mars and elevating these warriors to esteemed protectors of the machine god's will. House Taranis' illustrious reputation rests on its martial prowess and unwavering bravery, as much as on the lineage of its nobles. The first knight household to join the Emperor's fleets, House Taranis fought the galaxy's gravest threats, winning honors across hundreds of worlds, from the Segmentum Solar to the galaxy's outermost reaches. However, as House Taranis' forces expanded throughout the Great Crusade, a schism emerged. Warriors once united under Mars's banner began prioritizing duty to the Imperium over allegiance to Mars, fracturing loyalties with each campaign. Before the Horus heresy, House Taranis and other knight houses had remained staunchly aligned with the Mechanicum, their heraldry secondary to the cogskull of their tech lords as they joined Mechanicum armies in battle. Still, tensions between Mars and the knight houses had begun to stir, even before the cataclysmic events of the Horus heresy. As the heresy unfolded and Fabricator General Kelbahal declared allegiance to Horus, House Taranis was thrown into discord, torn between loyalty and betrayal. Knights clashed on Mars itself, pitted against one another in fierce battle as cities ignited in flames, titans and knights clashing like vengeful deities over a world in turmoil. Those House Taranis knights stationed away from Mars also faced chaos, cut off from central leadership and forced to seek new patrons for survival. Many aligned with either side, offering loyalty in exchange for resources, and so House Taranis knights fought on both sides of the conflict, each believing their actions honored their house's legacy. As the heresy continued, House Taranis' fortunes waxed and waned, its numbers swelling with new strongholds, only to be reduced once more in brutal warfare. By the war's end, House Taranis had been shattered countless times, leaving a sparse few scions to rebuild amidst an uncertain galaxy. In the aftermath, only the loyalist remnants of House Taranis endured. Its leaders reaffirmed their fealty to the God Emperor and to Zagreus Cain, the newly appointed Fabricator General of Mars and the visionary behind the reformed Adeptus Mechanicus. Since then, House Taranis has become the chosen vassal of the machine god, unwavering in its allegiance and resolute in its dedication to the Omnicia. Though they bear the titles of noble and knight, the warriors of House Taranis do not adhere to the feudal codes of other knightly houses. Untouched by the conditioning of the Throne Mechanicum, which enforces strict traditions among most knight houses, Taranis nobles instead echo the practices of the Collegia Titanica. Their path has never required them to survive on distant frontier worlds or to construct keeps against the dark reaches of the void, and their autonomy from such traditions is a secret they keep from other houses. House Taranis prides itself on this distinction, considering their lack of mental conditioning another mark of their elevated status among the Imperium's knights. Armed with Mars's advanced industry, Taranis fields some of the most formidable knight suits, including rare configurations like the heavily armoured Knight Crusader and Knight Castellan, maintained by exceptionally skilled sacristan priests. Although they do not share the rigid, tradition-bound lives of other houses, they cultivate martial prowess and unity with their machines through relentless training and mastery of their craft. Set on the artificial terrains and void platforms cocooning Phobos, Mars's small moon, House Taranis knights hone their skills alongside the Titan legions in specialized proving grounds. There, under the blazing red glow of Mars, they conduct their drills on landscapes that shift and adapt, using holographic projections, auger beacons, and metamorphic fields to simulate hostile worlds across the galaxy. Amid alien battlefields of searing mist, solar flares, and lightning-laden winds, Taranis nobles challenge enemy constructs armed with devastating weaponry. Surviving the proving grounds grants Taranis knights unmatched skill, training them to battle nearly every imaginable foe, from the nightmarish warp-spawned entities of the traitor legions to the relentless biotitans of Tyranid fleets. A fully trained Taranis noble knows their knight's capabilities as if the towering war machine were an extension of their own body. The ritual of becoming, a rite that binds noble to knight through the Throne Mechanicum, is fraught with peril. Many aspirants fail, their minds broken or left insane by the intense neural stresses. While other knight houses might conceal these tragic figures in manors or dungeons, House Taranis, blessed by the Mechanicus's guidance, repurposes these individuals into something of immense value, the psychosis neurocanium. Though their minds have been damaged by the throne's machine spirits, Taranis nobles who survive this ordeal become ideal candidates for a unique transformation. Their natural leadership, ingrained from birth, pairs perfectly with the bionic augmentations of the Mechanicus, allowing them to integrate mechanical implants and weaponry as instinctively as breathing. Known to the Mechanicus as psychosis neurocanium, these warriors are highly trained, bearing a powerful affinity for technology despite the mental ravages inflicted by the Throne Mechanicum. Typically, the psychosis neurocanium serve as captains and overseers within Skitarii ranks. To temper their fragmented minds, the Mechanicus implants emotive regulators, memory banks, and augmentations like skull plugs and sensory spines, granting them potent battlefield capabilities. Though fragments of their former personalities linger, their innate leadership qualities make them natural commanders, and Mechanicus troops respond to them without hesitation, their indoctrinated psyches compelled by the authority of a psychosis neurocanium. Families of House Taranis send these altered kin willingly to the Mechanicus, assured that the Skitarii legions they command will march beside Taranis knights in battle. While the honor of piloting a knight may be beyond their reach, these damaged nobles still fight side by side with their kin, leading troops into the very heart of the conflict with relentless determination. The knights participated in quite a few notable campaigns. Knight Taemon Verticorda of House Taranis is the first to meet the Emperor of Mankind upon his arrival to Mars. Cloaked in the role of the Omnissiah, the Emperor establishes a monumental alliance between Mars and newly unified Terra, formalized by the Treaty of Mars, laying the foundational alliance for his emerging Imperium. This union sets the stage for the Great Crusade, the grand endeavor to reunite the lost worlds of mankind. Civil war erupts across Mars as the Mechanicum's internal conflict, known as the Schism of Mars, ensues. Numerous Titan legions and their vassal knight households rally to the side of Fabricator General Kelborhal and his Dark Mechanicum conspirators. Within House Taranis, chaos and division spread swiftly as knights split their loyalties, with some pledging allegiance to Kelborhal, while others remain loyal to the Imperium. Those away from Mars are not spared. Each group within House Taranis forges its own path, leading to the tragic reality of kin fighting on both sides during the Horus Heresy. By the end of the Great Crusade, Riza ranks second only to Mars in power within the cult Mechanicus, renowned for its prowess in plasma technology and positioned strategically in the Ultima Segmentum. Since its initial alliance with the Imperium, Riza has fueled the eastward expansion of the Great Crusade. Refusing to yield to Horus's promises, Riza stands firm with the Loyalists, seeking aid across the Segmentum to counter the inevitable attack. When Horus's forces attempt to seize Riza, it is heavily fortified, defended not only by the mighty Legio Crucius, but by the combined strength of Legios Honorum and Ossidax, and knight houses Taranis and Zavora, all honoring ancient pacts with Mars. Despite Riza's considerable defenses, the Dark Mechanicum covets its resources, advancing upon the Forged world with horrifying engines of war. Riza's prominence had escaped Horus's attention until it posed a critical threat to his campaign toward the Segmentum Solar. Ignoring the risk, he orders his Dark Mechanicum allies to assault the world, promising vast rewards to those who would capture it. Though Horus's goal is to cripple Riza's war capacity, the Dark Mechanicum has darker designs, hoping to transform Riza into a Hellforge. Fabricator Locum Eurytus Omicron of Esteban VII is tasked with this conquest, amassing the Legio Magna and Legio Vulturum with promises of riches. Supporting them are Titans from the Legio Mortis, and alongside these behemoths the knight houses Morbidia and Ouroboros stand ready to unleash devastation upon Riza, nearly 140 Titans assembled in what would be a catastrophic strike. The fall of Salvation Isthmus exposes Riza's heart to attack. Splitting their forces, the traitors lay siege to the primary continents, hoping to capture the world intact. Following the fall of Endeavor, Loyalist Titans rally to retake the city. Primarily composed of Legio Ossidax, they face a daunting line of Titans entrenched atop the shattered city defenses. With limited cover on the plains surrounding Endeavor, a frontal assault promises heavy casualties and the Loyalist commanders debate retreat. However, House Taranis and House Zavora fiercely oppose this withdrawal, unwilling to witness another world succumb to Horus's ambitions. As dawn breaks, the Knights of Taranis and Zavora mount a courageous charge across the exposed plains toward Endeavor, braving the traitor guns. Few knights survive the assault, but those who do breach the traitor lines, using the city streets to negate the enemy's advantage and strike down their foes. Outside the city, the Legio Ossidax seizes the moment, pressing forward in support, hoping their combined strength can finally tip the scales in the Loyalists' favor and liberate Endeavor from the traitors. The War of the Beast unleashed a terrifying orc war of unprecedented scale, unmatched since the Ulanor Crusade at the end of the Great Crusade. This devastating invasion nearly shattered the Imperium, as the greenskin hordes threatened even the throne world. Only through drastic measures and at a tremendous cost in both civilian and military lives, including many from House Taranis, was the Imperium able to halt the orc onslaught. A formidable campaign waged by an alliance of Forged worlds saw Adeptus Mechanicus forces confront a sprawling band of pirates based in the Halo Stars. The Knights of House Taranis played a critical role in this victory, lending their might to obliterate pirate strongholds hidden on frozen moons and asteroid fields, thus ensuring the safety and supremacy of the Forge Worlds. In a fierce battle on Tarsok V, Knights of House Taranis engaged a demonic invasion led by a hulking Great Unclean One. Advancing through waves of plague-bearers, Seneschal Halvar's knights closed in on the bloated demon lord, with swarms of flies sizzling against their iron shields and coating the ground beneath them. Despite losing one knight to a surge of bile, and two others crushed by the demon's corpulent bulk, the knight's reaper chainswords cut through its foul flesh, ultimately banishing it back to the warp. As the remaining demons dissipated, the surviving defenders were left to reckon with the toll. House Taranis participated in a significant defense campaign to protect the imperial world of Ontoria 12, though details about the opposing force remain unrecorded. Amid the ruins of an imperial city, House Taranis and House Griffith clashed in a heated battle over a critical supply drop. Seeking to rearm for their next campaign, the Knights of House Griffith aimed to claim the supplies, while House Taranis sought them for its own engines of war. Insults gave way to anger, and a ferocious fight ensued, leaving both sides ravaged. The impasse was finally broken when the leaders of each house agreed to a duel. Lady Michaela of House Griffith, piloting the Knight Crusader Defiance, advanced upon Baron Cavernix of House Taranis, each enraged by the bloodshed. As Michaela closed in, she unleashed her arsenal, hammering Cavernix's knight with gatling rounds, heavy stubs and flame, intent on toppling her foe. Despite her relentless assault, Baron Cavernix pressed on, his crimson armor battered but unyielding. With a final charge, he reached her knight, seizing it with his paragon gauntlet and tearing its leg from the hip. Michaela's knight collapsed, marking a hollow victory for House Taranis, as only Baron Cavernix's knight remained standing amidst the wreckage. As the 41st millennium waned, Abaddon the Despoiler launched the monumental 13th Black Crusade, mobilizing the largest forces of both Chaos and the Imperium seen since the Horus Heresy. Abaddon's strategy, the Crimson Path, involved summoning enough demonic power on Cardia's surface to overload the planet's pylons, which restrained the tides of the warp at the Cadian Gate. Despite the Imperium's valiant defense, Abaddon ultimately succeeded by plunging one of his blackstone fortresses into Cardia's surface, shattering the planet. This catastrophic event created a vast rift, the Cicatrix Maledictum or Great Rift, which severed reality across the galaxy from the Segmentum Obscurus to the eastern fringe, unleashing untold numbers of demons and chaos forces upon a vulnerable galaxy. In the chaotic aftermath of Cardia's destruction and the Great Rift's formation, the Noctis Aeterna plunged much of the galaxy into darkness, severing the Astronomican's light and disrupting astropathic communication. Typhus the Traveller, a former Death Guard lord, seized the opportunity to invade the Forge world Metallica, igniting the Charadon sector in brutal conflict. In response, the Imperium marshaled a massive joint force, including multiple night houses, to push back against the forces of chaos. Though the Imperium inflicted severe losses upon Typhus's forces, he achieved his goal by unleashing his phage upon Metallica's prime industrial cluster, spreading rampant mutation across the Forge world. Despite repeated efforts to contain the infection, the Metallican Mechanicus found themselves in a relentless cycle of purging and resurgence, with the dreaded phage continuing to surface. While the sector was officially declared pacified, Metallica remained crippled, and House Raven had tragically lost its home. Long after Typhus's departure, Abaddon's influence continued to linger over the sector, leaving the Imperium with a costly and ongoing reclamation effort. However, the giant war machines would be nothing without House Taranis' greatest treasure, its heroes. Some will be remembered for the ages to come. The storied founder of House Taranis, Cheops Taranis, unified the largest knight spearhead formations on Mars in the 25th millennium, triumphing over rivals to cement his house's legacy. In the year 199th of the 32nd millennium, Chefren Taranis led a valiant charge against an orc invasion, slaying the warlord's bodyguard and the greenskin leader himself. His heroism earned an honored update to the Taranis coat of arms, Princeps Ankenaten. Taranis, ruling in the 523rd year of the 35th millennium, ushered in an era of autonomy for his house. His alliance with the Fabricator General of the Mechanicus secured Taranis greater authority within Mars' armies. As pilot of the Questoris Knight Paladin Ares Lictor, Lord Commander Taemon Verticorder was the first to greet the Emperor upon his arrival on Mars. Nearly 2 centuries before the Horus Heresy, Verticorder pledged House Taranis to the Emperor and served as the Princeps Conciliatus, a mediator for Mars's warrior orders. Respected for his wisdom, he worked closely with fellow commander Lord Catarix, and their combined strategies proved invaluable during the Great Crusade. Catarix, commanding the Questoris Knight Paladin Gladius Fulman, was known for his fiery passion that balanced Verticorder's caution. Revered as a co-master of House Taranis, Catarix inspired his knights through both martial skill and ardent loyalty, especially in the early years of the Horus Heresy. Piloting the Questoris Knight Paladin Fortis Metallum, Preceptor Stator fought valiantly during the Great Crusade, ultimately sacrificing himself in defense of Magma City during Mars' civil war. A Knight Paladin pilot of Equitos Bellum, Raf Maven survived the schism of Mars, emerging to lead House Taranis as Lord Commander following the devastating civil conflict and the losses of both Verticorder and Caturix. As pilot of the Knight Paladin Pax Mortis, Leopold Cronus played a key role during the Great Crusade and into the early stages of the Horus Heresy, standing as a steadfast protector of the Mechanicum's interests. Known for piloting the Knight Paladin Omnisia's Fury, Soberon is celebrated on Mars for his defense of Magos Explorator Gairen's veiled fleet against hostile forces, safeguarding critical dig sites from Eldar raiders. Piloting the Red Doom, Ulantor is renowned for his decisive victory over Dark Mechanicum forces on Hyperia III, a testament to his unmatched courage and skill. As the driver of the knight-errant giant killer, Vagaron's first laurels were earned during the Battle of Duscan V. Facing a greater demon and its demonic minions, he delivered a fatal blow with his thermal cannon, banishing the creature back to the warp. Sazantek, master of the knight-errant Blade of Mars, serves as a combat instructor at Phobos' Proving Grounds. Known for an iron bond with his knight and collaboration with the Sacristans, Zantek's storied career includes a heroic mission on Gorgoth to retrieve ancient components where he braved grievous injuries. Remarkably, he is one of few nobles to undergo the ritual of becoming twice, earning him lasting respect and admiration. Sir Drantar, piloting the Red Might, has supported the Skitarii of Mars for over a decade, accompanying them on countless archaeotech hunts. His knight has defended against everything from greenskins to Eldari raiders, securing key victories for the Adeptus Mechanicus. As the ruler of Hydrolac Point, Sir Archimaxes, piloting the formidable Knight Castellan Devastation Unbridled, stands vigilant over the Martian landscape. In his isolation, he hunts corrupted servitor beasts, proving a relentless and invaluable protector of Mars. Sir Thasor, a relentless hunter of enemy engines, pilots the Armiger Warglaive Red Jackal, known for its fierce machine spirit. Together, they pursue and eliminate traitor tanks with precision, embodying House Taranis' ferocious spirit. House Taranis, with its extensive lineage and esteemed standing as Mars's foremost knight household, held a power unmatched among imperial knight houses, rivaled only perhaps by House Raven. Well before a formal metric for household strength existed, new knight houses were often evaluated based on their equivalency to House Taranis, establishing it as the ultimate benchmark of strength and ability. By the close of the Great Crusade, House Taranis could deploy nearly 600 active knight armors of various designs and capabilities, earning it the Primaris, Maxis, grade status. As the pioneering knight house, it was entrusted with trialling Mars' latest technological innovations. Only with the endorsement of its scions were these advancements shared among the Questoris Familia. This privileged position enabled House Taranis to amass a significant number of rare pattern knights, such as Acastus Knight Porphyrians, Cerastus Knight Atropos, as well as Knights Megara and Styrix, models that other households possessed in only limited numbers. Before the upheavals that triggered the Schism of Mars, House Taranis boasted nearly 48 Knight Styrics units, including the famed Thought of Innocence. Though primarily designed to counter infantry, the Styrics Knight took on a new role in the Horus Heresy's battlefield. Its Volkite Curaville weapon, with its deflagrating capabilities, proved remarkably adept at overwhelming void shields, causing Titan's reactors to strain under the rapid increase in thermal load. This unique function saw the Knight Styrics frequently paired with heavier Titan maniples to dismantle the void shields of enemy god engines, leaving them exposed to allied fire. House Taranis' storied legacy became as valuable as its martial prowess, often deploying its detachments to build alliances for Mars, whether with an expeditionary fleet, Titan Legion, or a distant Forge world. This strategic dispersion of its strength not only expanded Mars's influence, but also safeguarded the household's survival during the Horus Heresy. Even if one contingent suffered catastrophic losses, others remained to uphold the Taranis legacy across the galaxy. Prior to the Horus Heresy, House Taranis bore blue and white as its emblematic colours, a distinction from the traditional red and silver of the Mechanicum's vassal knight houses. This unique heraldry honoured their founding lineage, marking them as ancestors of all other knight houses. In select instances, knights of House Taranis would temporarily adopt the colours of their Mechanicum overlords when tasked with protecting high-ranking tech priests. Yet, as the heresy unfolded, and their survival increasingly depended on the support of various Forge worlds, many of their knights embraced Mechanicum Red in homage to their benefactors who ensured the house's continued existence. In the wake of the Horus Heresy, House Taranis' loyalty faced scrutiny as reports circulated of their knights clashing under opposing banners, the household fragments caught in the bitter strife. This turbulent period saw House Taranis shift from its traditional blue to the red of the Mechanicum, mirroring their increasing reliance on Mars and its Forge worlds for survival. Since the end of the heresy, House Taranis has worn the crimson of the Adeptus Mechanicus as a badge of enduring loyalty to Mars, embodying both its ancient honour and a complex legacy. House Taranis holds the distinction of being the first knight house ever formed, established in the 25th millennium, when its founder, Cheops Taranis, united Mars's largest knight formations after vanquishing his challengers. At this time, their emblem was two spearheads on a red field. With their formal induction into the Imperium, the emblem evolved to feature a black half-skull within a cog, accompanied by Mars's ancient symbol, an upward-pointing arrow through a circle, denoting allegiance to the Red Planet. The rule of Akhenaten Taranis, in the year 523 of the 35th millennium, marked a significant shift in autonomy for the house. Through his alliance with the Fabricator General, House Taranis earned authority over the Mechanicum's forces on Mars. In recognition, the House Krast proudly bore the cog of Mars, underscoring its unmatched status within the knightly hierarchy of the Imperium. Since the Horus Heresy, House Taranis has carried the Red of Mars, now a common field among Mechanicum-aligned houses within the Questa Mechanicus. The sword dividing the Krest's demicog was added by Raf Maven, a stalwart knight who rebuilt House Taranis after the Martian Civil War. The emblem honours the kinsmen lost in that devastating conflict, affirming the house's resilience and cementing its legacy as the foremost knight house of the 41st millennium. Knightly houses aligned with the Questa Mechanicus, devoted to the machine god, are generally less inclined to embrace personal heraldry, though subtle individual distinctions still persist. These houses typically incorporate black and white as primary colours on their knight's main carapace. An additional common feature is the half-toned black and white faceplate, a respectful nod to the Opus Machina emblem of the Adeptus Mechanicus. House Taranis maintains traditional knightly standards in banner design, notable for the cog emblem positioned between the full house crest and the honour markings. These prominent symbols are highly structured. Their specific design conveys significant meaning, often indicating rank or achievement. Displayed on the left is Sir Zantek's banner, with his recognition numbers, 2 of 5, arranged within a Technomagi test pattern. Sir Soberon's banner on the right displays a double cog. denoting his knight suit's initiation to the second degree within the cult Mechanicus. House Krast, a venerated knightly house within the Questor Mechanicus, has pledged unwavering fealty to the Adeptus Mechanicus. Originating from the desolate night world of Crisis, Krast was the first house of its kind to be rediscovered by the Imperium at the dawn of the Great Crusade in the late 30th millennium. Crisis and its noble lineage are among the most enduring allies of both the Imperium and Mars, bound by an ancient warp route connecting their world to the Sol system and the forges of Mars. The sacristans of House Krast are regarded as the most skilled outside Mars itself, expertly tending to their knights with reverent digital psalms and sacred binary hymns. In honor of this alliance and the ancient pact forged with Mars, Krast's nobles revere the machine god as a sacred embodiment of the god emperor and as the divine guardian of their homeland. During the Great Crusade, the nobles of House Krast took two solemn oaths, an undying loyalty to the Red Planet and a vengeful pursuit of all traitors. These vows remain unbroken through the generations, as Krast's nobles hunt the agents of chaos, their most loathed adversaries, with an unyielding purpose to honor the pledges of their ancestors. Yet 10,000 years have not soothed the bitter rage that pulses within House Krast. From fortified citadels, the nobles gaze over the desolate wastelands of Crisis, knowing full well who bears the blood price for their world's destruction. Once a planet of lush forests and vibrant seas, Crisis is now a skeletal shadow of itself, its coastlines transformed from surf-kissed shores to jagged, barren cliffs, and its verdant lands reduced to lifeless expanses. Across these ruins, remnants of knightly houses serve as bleak reminders of betrayal. The fury of House Krast remains unquenched, forever set upon avenging the treachery of the Horus heresy, a conflict that inflicted profound devastation upon their world. The Chaos Titans of Legio Mortis were the foremost agents in Crisis's ruin. Nevertheless, House Krast honors its duty to Mars unwaveringly, fulfilling their oath to support the Adeptus Mechanicus by dispatching knights to any forge world in need of military aid. House Krast's motto stands resolute: crush the serpent. Crisis, the esteemed night world, holds the unique honor of being the first of its kind to be brought to imperial compliance during the Great Crusade. Situated just a dozen light-years from the Sol system, Crisis was swiftly rediscovered by rogue trader, militant Jeffers, who brought news of a well-established world safeguarded by multiple knight households, which sparked immediate interest on Mars. This enthusiasm was mutual, as Crisis had endured the galaxy's horrors unaided through the Age of Strife, and its people welcomed the chance to join the burgeoning Imperium of Man. Among the noble houses of Crisis, of which 7 are documented in Mars's records, it was House Krast, the most prominent household that was chosen to ascend to the stars. The other knight houses on Crisis took on the vital role of securing the alliance with Mars, ensuring that House Krast would be well supported for the battles awaiting them in the solar decades ahead. Although the duty to remain behind held less glory than fighting among the expeditionary fleets, it was still seen as a tremendous honor. To ease the spirits of those left on Crisis, House Krast issued a decree allowing the remaining knight houses to draw lots every solar decade. The fortunate scions selected would serve alongside House Krast as Freeblades, representing their lineage honorably on distant battlefields before returning home a decade later. House Krast was the first knightly house outside of Mars to pledge loyalty to the Imperium, and it reaped considerable benefits in return. Mars fully committed its forges to restoring House Krast's ancient knight suits, and in return gained access to the abundant resources Crisis could offer. This exchange fortified House Krast's independence long after rediscovery, allowing it to serve the Imperium broadly and foster alliances with numerous forge worlds. Meanwhile, the knight houses remaining on Crisis safeguarded its autonomy, resisting any attempt to bind their world solely to one Mechanicum faction. For House Krast, being the first knight house to swear fealty to the Imperium became a badge of honor, often wielded to assert superiority over other houses and highlight its legacy. Brotherhoods were rarely fostered in this way, yet House Krast was indifferent, relying instead on its remarkable record in the Great Crusade to speak for itself. The scions of Krast proudly fought on battlefields beside at least 13 of the Emperor's primarchs before the Horus heresy, a fact that remains a great source of pride. One grievance, however, was the notable absence of House Krast's forces alongside Horus Lupercal. This exclusion was seen as a slight, and the announcement of his appointment as War Master deepened the bitterness. Yet in hindsight, this separation has become a proud element in House Krast's history, given Horus's betrayal and the devastation he later brought to Chrysis. At the outbreak of the Horus heresy, House Krast's knights were dispersed across distant battlefronts, leaving few of their number stationed near Chrysis. Loyalty to the Emperor and the Imperium remained steadfast among Chrysis's knight houses, and the warriors of House Krast fought fiercely against the traitors, secure in the belief that their homeworld was well protected from the enemy's reach. Tragically, their faith proved misplaced. Horus, calculating the costs, chose not to expend resources on an outright assault against the world of Chrysis. Instead, as the defenders braced for the anticipated invasion, they were met with a ruthless onslaught of virus bombs. In moments, Chrysis, once a lush jungle world, became a lifeless wasteland, scarred by chemical devastation, where only the shattered keeps of its night houses stood as silent monuments to the fallen. When House Krast's surviving scions finally returned to their dead world, their grief turned to a hatred so fierce that it became their guiding purpose. In the years that followed, the Knights of House Krast pursued the traitors relentlessly, swearing that they would rest only when the last of Horus's minions was vanquished. House Krast never abandoned Chrysis. Following the heresy, they forged a closer alliance with Mars, using its resources to reconstruct their holdings on this desolate land. The remnants of ancient houses now stand as eternal reminders of Horus's treachery, ensuring that no Krastian knight forgets the vengeance owed for Chrysis' ruin. Even in the current age, Chrysis bears the scars of Horus's wrath. What were once verdant jungles and abundant oceans are now barren, petrified forests and endless empty basins littered with the fossils of sea creatures long extinct. The keeps of long-dead knightly houses dot the shoreline, where beaches once washed by waves have transformed into soaring barren cliffs. Crumbling fortifications on islands rising from the vacant seas serve as stark reminders of Horus's betrayal. Where virus bombs struck hardest, toxic lakes continue to fester, just as deadly today as they were when the War Master unleashed his exterminatus. Now, vast dust storms periodically sweep across the planet, stirring lethal chemical clouds that sweep over dry seabeds, destroying all they encounter. Only House Krast's fortified strongholds and the Adeptus Mechanicus mining platforms remain, extracting minerals from the scarred surface. Within the shielded enclaves of the nobles, efforts to preserve a sliver of Chrysis's past endure. Green gardens and artificial lakes, shielded from the world's poisonous atmosphere, attempt to capture a semblance of life as it once was. Yet it is a mere echo of the world that was, drawn from ancient tapestries and fading memories. Each Krastian noble who stands on their keep, gazing out through the haze of void shields, knows the price paid by their world and exactly whom they hold accountable for its desolation. Since the heresy, House Krast has sworn that wherever chaos threatens, they will be there to strike it down, cutting off the serpent's head wherever it dares arise. For the nobles of House Krast, it remains an enduring point of pride that their world was the first to formally align with the Imperium during the Great Crusade. The scars they bear from fighting under the Emperor's banner during the Horus heresy and the severe losses they endured only intensify their sense of distinction over other knightly houses. After Horus left their planet in ruins, the Adeptus Mechanicus aided the nobles in rebuilding and fortifying their ranks. In return, House Krast swore everlasting loyalty to Mars, becoming a part of the Questor Mechanicus. This alliance has persisted for over 100 centuries, with the Forges of the Red Planet supporting the Knights of Krast and the nobles answering the Mechanicus's call to arms. The close bond with Mars has profoundly shaped Krastian society, and the nobles offer prayers to the Omnicia within the hallowed machine shrines of their void-shielded fortresses. To the machine god, they pledge their hope, trusting in his holy technology to keep them unyielding in battle. Unlike other knightly houses, House Krast commits a greater number of knights to support the Adeptus Titanicus than any but House Taranis, the favoured protectors of Mars itself. The nobles of Krast take immense pride in fighting alongside the Titans, decimating enemy machines and strongholds with thunderous volleys and relentless Reaper chainsword charges. Recognizing this fervour, the Mechanicus's current Fabricator General ensures a steady stream of battles for House Krast's nobles, directing them wherever heresy and the corruption of chaos rear their heads. Raised on tales of betrayal by followers of the ruinous powers and surrounded daily by the reminders of their devastated world, Krastian nobles harbour a relentless loathing for traitors. The greatest honour for a Krastian knight lies in vanquishing the heretic. In their zeal, the young nobles are often drawn to the promise of valour, eagerly risking all to capture a high-value kill, such as a Chaos super-heavy tank or a demon engine. Among these valorous warriors, the head-takers stand as the pinnacle, nobles who have downed Chaos Titans and cemented their places as Crisis's revered champions. Among the many betrayals that doomed the knightly houses of Crisis, House Krast holds the treachery of the Legio Mortis in the utmost contempt. Once Mars' own revered Titan Legion, the Death's Heads fought alongside House Krast in the Great Crusade's early days. Yet their allegiance shifted with Horus, and they became harbingers of Nurgle, the plague god, leading the assault that decimated Crisis and wiped out its lesser houses. Driven by vengeance, House Krast relentlessly pursues the Titans of Legio Mortis wherever they appear. If a knight brings down one of these corrupted god engines, his return to Crisis is met with celebratory acclaim. Yet no revelry compares to the triumph bestowed upon a noble who fells a Death's Head Titan. Such a knight earns the title of Headtaker, bearing a broken Death's Head emblem upon his armour or tabard, a mark of valour that commemorates the downfall of a despised foe. Reports of Legio Mortis Titans amongst the Chaos forces besieging the Cadian Gate during the 13th Black Crusade in the year 999 of the 41st millennium spurred House Krast into action, sending their nobles en masse to the war zone, determined to settle old scores and exact their vengeance. In the heart of the screaming sea on Crisis, on a forsaken island that was once a lush tropical haven, stands a towering adamantium obelisk known as the Hammer of Traitors. This solemn monument presides over the expanse of dry ocean floor and blighted land, its sheer scale a testament to the fury of House Krast. Here every victory against the servants of the dark gods is meticulously etched into its surface. At the monument's summit are the mightiest triumphs: the Legio Mortis Titans brought low by the Knights of Krast, followed by a descending record of demon engines, super-heavy war machines and infamous enemy fortresses laid to ruin. Lower down are entries for annihilated heretic armies, no more than place names, commanders, cult designations and staggering casualty figures counted in the tens of thousands, inscribed almost as an afterthought. The foundation of the hammer, however, serves a grimmer purpose. Encircled by chains and iron collars, this base is where House Krast delivers the vilest traitors. Chaos generals, heretic leaders and betrayers, often captured covertly from battlefronts without the Inquisition's knowledge. These prisoners, stripped of armour and weaponry, are bound to the monument and exposed to the poisoned air and corrosive winds of Crisis. For most, death is swift, as they choke on bile and blood while their flesh scorches and peels. But the hardiest of captives, such as traitor Astartes, may endure for several solar days, until a toxic storm sweeps over the island, stripping them to smouldering bone. The Inquisition has at times turned its gaze toward House Krast, yet the political shield of the Adeptus Mechanicus consistently deters such scrutiny. Strangers seeking to probe too deeply into the affairs of Crisis often disappear as quietly as those consigned to the hammer itself. No official record of the Hammer of Traitors exists within Krastian data repositories or cogitator archives. Its location remains a closely guarded secret, known only to the house's lord and a select few nobles. While the Adeptus Mechanicus is aware of this dark practice, the current Fabricator General is content to overlook it, so long as House Krast continues to march in service to Mars' interests. House Krast has earned many renowned victories against the forces of chaos, yet they never neglect their obligations to the Adeptus Mechanicus, always answering Mars' call to battle. During the Battle of Herald's Fall, 4 detachments of House Krast Knights joined the Legio Osedax Cockatrices Titan Legion to face the invasion of War Spleen Ripper's Orc forces. Despite losing half their numbers, 3 Knight survivors earned commendation from the Fabricator General of Mars himself for downing Spleen Ripper's Great Gargant in a coordinated strike, preventing it from destroying the priceless Ordinatus Mars war machine. Following this triumph, Headtaker Pharillus, who severed the Gargant with his Reaper chainsword, was formally seconded to the Legion. Kyan Krast commanded his forces in a resounding victory over Chaos, crushing the Golden Taint warband that threatened Imperial forces. 3 Knights of House Krast joined Ultramarines from the Space Marines chapter to defend the mining world of Gorvax from an Asuriani war host of ghost warriors from craft world Iandan. After a Xenos sniper killed one of the pilots, the Throne Mechanicum of the Knight suit activated, guiding the unmanned machine into the fray once more, driven by the echoes of ancient souls. It cleaved through numerous Wraithbone constructs until 2 towering Wraith Knights finally brought it down in a colossal clash. Though victory was achieved, Gorvax's salvation came at the cost of those who fought, living and otherwise. A Chaos Wolfpack intercepted the Imperial Heavy Transport Penitent Blade en route to the Helium war zones. When the vessel was boarded, House Krast nobles activated their Knight suits to counter the traitor Marines. Within the Penitent Blade's vast cargo halls, the Knights crushed the invaders, blasting through their vanguard of Terminators and Hellbrutes. When a second wave of Chaos attackers attempted to board, the nobles ordered the cargo hall doors opened, allowing them to fire on the assault boats directly. Caught unprepared, the traitor craft were destroyed or scattered, leaving the enemy forces adrift in the void. In the final years of M41, Houses Krast and Arachon joined the rallying Imperial forces, fortifying the Cardian Gate against Chaos forces pouring from the Eye of Terror. Amid the warp storm Baphomael, the Knights of House Arachon were feared lost to the roiling warp tides. However, reports soon emerged of 4 detachments of knights adorned in Arakon's colours, fighting back Chaos legions, righteously crushing 2 massive formations of Iron Warriors siege tanks. In the year 203rd of the 36th millennium, as a gesture of loyalty to the Adeptus Mechanicus, Lord Tabban offered his firstborn son to the Legio Titanicus of Mars. In recognition, the Fabricator General pledged unwavering support in House Krast's ongoing war against Chaos. Baron Lagos, pilot of the Knight Crusader Redemption of Adamant, carries the title of Baron, marked by twin yellow stripes across his knight's carapace. Over years of relentless combat, his knight has withstood and rebounded from severe damage inflicted by mankind's foes, always rebuilt by sacristans and returning to battle stronger than ever. As Baron, Lagos oversees his stronghold, leads his knights, and answers the call to arms issued by his Prince Apes. Whether leading a household detachment, entering the fray himself, or commanding his personal baronial court, Lagos is ever prepared for war. Knight Scion Garathi Ashbrone served as a respected protector during the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy's initial years. Known for his patience and tactical skill, Ashbrone piloted the Night Warden Fervorous Defender and was recognized within House Krast as a future leader before his untimely death when Crisis was bombarded in the Heresy's final stages. Sir Dagos aboard the Blade of Vengeance fought in the Vagorn Hellfront conflict, a desperate struggle in the Ultima Segmentum. Assigned to the Hellfront core world of Crematis, he sought to eliminate the warp seer Nerotica the Unbound. Soon after landing, Dagos and his lance brothers were ensnared in an ambush, their allies scattered by traitor forces. Facing insurmountable odds and ultimately captured, Dagos managed to revive his fallen knight through skillful manipulation of its throne mechanicum. Rising against all expectations, Dygos fired a thermal blast directly into Neurotica's palace, killing the heretic leader and his generals before being overrun. His selfless act broke the uprising, and his memory is immortalized with a statue at House Krast's fortress gates. Sir Pharillus fought in the brutal retribution against Warspleen Ripper on Herald's Fall, joining House Krast knights in support of the Legio Osidac's Titan Legion. Leading a decisive assault across orc-infested terrain, Pharillus and his lance brothers destroyed Spleen Ripper's great gargant in a climactic charge, ultimately saving the Ordinatus Mars. For his valor, Pharillus was honored by the Adeptus Mechanicus and joined their ranks. His tactical insights, forged alongside the cockatrices and refined during the Indomitus Crusade, have made him a formidable foe to greenskin battle engines, particularly in the subsequent battles against Warcog Stomper. Nobles of House Krast are steeped in hatred for the chaos forces that devastated Chrysis, fueling them as fierce warriors against the dark gods. For some, however, this anger becomes all-consuming. Sir Deimos grew up amidst the ruins of Chrysis, a stark reminder of Chaos's treachery. When he underwent the becoming, his fervent disdain was stoked by the Throne Mechanicum's whispers. His first battle took him to Forsyne 12, a pristine wilderness world recently reconnected with the Imperium. Deimos helped subdue the world's defiant inhabitants, torching villages and hunting rebels in dense forests. Although no chaos taint was apparent, Deimos saw demons lurking in every shadow and heresy in the gaze of every citizen. Declaring the rebellion quelled, the planetary governor signaled an end to hostilities, yet Deimos remained unconvinced, seeing hidden foes in every forest glade. Rallying his fellow knights, he led a final expedition into the Forsyne woods, reaching the concealed fortress of Alpha Legion Chaos Space Marines, shielded from detection and armed with formidable weaponry. Deimos spearheaded the assault, shattering the fortress and reducing it to ashes, though the Alpha Legion escaped into the shadows once more. The seventh son of House Krast, Sir Teros, found his way to the Throne Mechanicum through a series of fateful misfortunes, with his older brothers lost to illness or accidents. Once seated in the night, any lingering doubts of his lineage vanished as he vanquished his foes, displaying a rare talent for hunting psychers. During the Elder raids in the Gulf of Aeroth, Teros's prowess shone. The Xenos pirates had terrorized Mechanicus stations, appearing and disappearing before reinforcements could arrive. Skitarii, Astra Militarum units and Knights of House Krast lay in wait, scattered across the outposts to intercept the raiders. When the Eldar attacked Epsilon K, Teros was there, instinctively drawn to the location. Led by a powerful witch, the Eldar infiltrated the station, only to encounter Teros in full readiness. He shattered their ranks, sending them fleeing to their void ship. As the witch fled aboard her craft, Teros linked his knight's augers to the station's macro cannons, taking direct control to blast the Xenos vessel from the stars. Countess Carix brought an end to the schemes of Alpha Legion Chaos Lord Stentirius with a scorching strike from the thermal spear of her Armiger warglaive, Serpent's Bane, obliterating him and his ambitions. The Armiger Helverin Hate's Requiem bears a fierce machine spirit, relentless against traitors. Its pilot, bondsman Narsus, is more than willing to channel this venomous spirit, unleashing it upon turncoats with calculated wrath. As the earliest night world to pledge itself to the Imperium, House Krast reaped the immense rewards of Mars industry. The Forge World's forges worked without rest to rebuild Crysis's lost industry and arm the nobles of Krast with freshly crafted knight armors and weaponry. Over the ensuing solar decades, Crysis's sacristans advanced their craft, honing skills rivaled only by those on Mars. By the beginning of the Horus heresy, House Krast boasted a force of 400 knights, nearly all of whom fought at the forefront of the Great Crusade. This considerable force earned them the rare designation of a Primaris-grade household. The heresy, however, left a trail of devastation on Chrysis, claiming the lives of all but House Krast's remaining knights scattered across the galaxy. For years, House Krast fought loyally for the Emperor, unaware of their homeworld's fate. Once they learned of Crysis's ruin, over 100 surviving scions of House Krast swore unbreakable oaths of vengeance against Horus and his followers, ultimately turning to Mars to restore their house's strength and return to the battlefront. Before the heresy, House Krast's knights bore blue livery. But after the devastating conflict, and in recognition of their allegiance to Mars, House Krast adopted the red hues of the reformed Adeptus Mechanicus, a tradition they uphold to this day. Before the heresy, House Krast's iconography displayed a stark black Gothic cross. As the lone survivor among Chrysis's knightly houses, House Krast redefined its symbol in the year 976 of the 31st millennium with unanimous consent from its nobles. The emblem transformed into a gauntlet strangling a serpent, symbolizing their undying enmity toward the forces of chaos. Each noble swore a mighty oath against Horus's traitor forces, and since the dark days of the Great Scarring, House Krast's knights have fought chaos at the forefront, adopting the title Hammer of Traitors with fervent pride. In the year 663 of the 33rd millennium, under Krast, the household crushed the Golden Taint warband in the battle for the gates of Obsilom, adding a pair of crossed witch-hunter hammers behind their crest to signify their dedication to annihilating chaos forces wherever they arise. By the 203rd year of the 36th millennium, Lord Tabn Krast fortified his house's bonds with the Mechanicus by offering his firstborn to the Adeptus Titanicus, a gesture of alliance met with the Fabricator General's renewed support in their crusade against chaos. House Krast's personal crest adopted the current form at this time, featuring the half-cog Opus Machina symbol of the Adeptus Mechanicus at its core. This crest's duality signifies their shared allegiance to both their knightly house and the machine cult. Emblazoned with a gauntlet crushing a serpent, House Krast's crest embodies their boundless wrath against chaos. As the first knight house to fight for the Emperor's Great Crusade, they hold immense pride in their contributions to humanity's conquest of the stars. Yet the Horus heresy marked a turning point of great tragedy, as traitor forces utterly devastated Chrysis, reducing it to a poisoned wasteland ravaged by viral weaponry. Even after 10,000 standard years, the nobles reside in void-shielded bastions, gazing upon their desolate world with an undying thirst for retribution. This symbol speaks to their legacy of vengeance, with each victory against chaos meticulously counted and tallied. Their tireless pursuit of the Dark God's servants defines their purpose, and a hidden place on their ravaged world, known as the Hammer of Traitors, serves as a shrine to their victories. Here, they carve the names of chaos adherents they've vanquished and, rumor has it, deliver captured heretics to suffer their last breaths in the toxic air. Imperial Knights of House Krast commemorate glorious kills with honor marks on their banners or knight suits, symbolized by targeting icons, skulls, or rings on weapon barrels. Their deepest hatred is reserved for the Legio Mortis traitor Titan Legion, whom they blame for the destruction wrought upon Chrysis during the Horus heresy. The Broken Death's head symbol, altered with a cracked skull, is worn by Krastian knights who've claimed the lives of Legio Mortis Titans, a badge marking their most cherished and bitterly earned victories.